welcome back, crew, to Boats vs. Haulover. Man and Machine take on Mother Nature down at Haulover Inlet, Miami, Florida. And if you can't tell from these images, it's going to be a little bit of a rough one today. We got about an 18-mile-an-hour wind. An outgoing tide is going to create some interesting challenges for our captains as they try and take on the inlet. And that's going to bring us to the first round of our competition. And here in the first round, the boats are going to toss an island hopper in the ring to see how it can fare against Haulover. But here we go, let's get this contest started. And our crew is starting to work their way out of Haulover. And man, they don't have the bow very high and they wind up stuffing it early. This crew, I think, is about to go through a stuffing fest as they try and work their way out of the inlet. You can tell by the flag, the wind is whipping today, those waves are stacking, and our crew is getting absolutely knocked around by Haulover Inlet. Now, this is not a speed demon by any means for the boats, which means it's going to have a tough time in those heavy seas getting up on plane. On top of that, with all that dive gear in the back, you actually would think that bow would stay up, but unfortunately for this crew, it just did not work out that way, and they're going to wind up taking a loss for the boats here in the first round. That's going to give Haulover the 1-0 lead as we move into the second round of this contest, where here in the second round, the boats are going to toss a metal shark in the ring to see if they can go ahead and get things tied back up. And here we go, our cap looks solid, he's got the boat up on plane, letting the boat do its thing, but man, it's kind of a rough day, and he looks excellent. I mean, they are just picking their way through these waves, looking at where they're going, making sure they're not doing anything crazy. Honestly, on a day like today, this might be one of the best runs I've seen in quite some time. Cap's definitely got the experience here. He's controlling the throttle, making sure he doesn't get himself into any trouble whatsoever, and is easily going to make his way into Haulover and quickly take a win for the boats here in the second round. I've got to give props where it's due. That was an impressive run. And that's going to bring us to the third round of our competition. We are now tied at 1 apiece, and here in the third round, the boats are going to toss a Sea-Doo in the ring to see how it can fare down here at Haulover Inlet, but things go wrong pretty quickly. This crew is trying to work their way back into the inlet, stuffed it into a wave, and knocked all 3 people into the water. They're slowly trying to work their way back on, but they're having a pretty difficult time with this, and one of the problems is probably, as we see here, one of the guys is not even wearing a life jacket that's correctly approved to be used on a personal watercraft. But we've got all 3 back on. The question is, we can get it going now? No! All 3 back in the drink. When you fully load one of these skis up with 3 adults, it is just not a stable thing at all, especially at low speeds or like we see here when you're not moving at all. It makes it exceptionally difficult to maintain the balance of the ski. And one of the only ways to fix that is to get on the throttle, but you can't do that when you don't have everybody on the ski. So we're trying to get the second guy back on. Our third one is still back behind the ski. It looks like Cap's already got it started, so at least he's ready to roll the second they get the guy on. But the problem with this is, as well, is now you're going to load somebody on with the jet pump on and just pray that he doesn't get too close to that pump for any reason. As you try and board him right in front of it. But Cap's just trying to do what he's got to do so he can get on the throttle immediately once they get somebody on and keep this thing moving, and it can be a stressful, exhausting moment. As we can see here, as this crew looks just absolutely spent as they're trying to get back on the ski. Now, fortunately, everybody gets back on, but unfortunately for this crew, they do wind up taking a loss for the boats in this round, which is going to give Haulover the 2-1 edge as we move into the fourth round of our contest. And here in the fourth round, the boats are going to toss a Boston Whaler in the ring to see if we can get it tied back up. And here we go, our crew is starting to work their way out toward the mouth of the inlet. And they're taking that slow roll approach, and it looks like, no! They're going to second guess it and go and pull the old Haulover U-turn. Is Haulover going to end this one early? Unbelievable. I thought we were at least going to get the attempt. They're teasing us as they're coming back around. It looks like maybe there was a slight conversation and some hesitation as to whether we were going to go or not. But this crew, they're making their attempt now as they work their way toward the mouth of the inlet. We are definitely taking the slow roll approach. It is a small boat, and you can tell it is kind of getting worked by these bigger waves. But the question is, can they keep that bow up and find a way to safely sneak out of the inlet? And right now, they're following that hug the north side approach, which is working out pretty good for them. I'm assuming a whole lot better than if they went down the middle, and this crew is going to make it. They're going to sneak out and surprisingly take a win for the boats, which is going to bring us to a 2-2 tie as we move into the 5th and final round of our contest. And here in the 5th round, the boats are going to toss a Sea Pro in the ring to see if they can go ahead and close this out and take a win over Haulover. Let's go, 5th round, and our crew is taking the slow roll approach as they start to work their way out. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one pays off, because on a day like today where Haulover's firing a little bit, sometimes that slow roll approach, even though it seems like the safest method, just doesn't pay off well because you don't get the bow up. Now our crew, they're taking it easy. Cap's just kind of monitoring everything as he goes. He's not really looked to lean into the throttle, but here we go, his buddy just stood up, so maybe we're going to pick up the pace now a little bit and try and see if we can work our way out of here a little faster. But the reality is, without even doing much, they kind of already snuck their way out the inlet, and they did it successfully, so they're going to wind up taking a win in this round, which means the boats are going to win in this episode. Thanks for watching, crew. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Boats vs. Haulover. If you did, please check out our other content. We have Wavy Boats, who does a bunch of great things at the inlets. My channel, Broncos Guru, does some great comedy boating videos there as well. And of course, we got the Miami Boat Ramps channel that focuses on all the hilarity that happens at the boat ramps in South Florida. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.